Sanford Meisner, Stanislavski, the Actor Studio, Stella Adler, they were huge advocates of using life, you know, for your work, which you've got to be an observer of life and a thief of life. And you have to use, and to some extent, yourself. But at the same time, the reason why I have a degree in theater and I went to Juilliard is the rest of it, the thing that takes you over the hurdle in crafting, operative word meaning crafting a performance, is that you can leave it. You can sort of have a little shroud of protection around yourself and have a semblance of control of your work, you know, because you have to shape a performance. You just can't go, you know, on the set and just go, okay, I'm gonna go hog wild because the character is going wild. He just punches a wall in with his bare fist, so I'm gonna do it, and then walk away with broken fingers. I don't want broken fingers. I just want to show you that it looks like I'm breaking my fingers. So it's technique, craft is what allows me to leave it behind and go home to my husband and my child.
It's not really our job as actors to interpret these plays for you. I mean, we can't help but interpret them, but really it's for each of you to relate the plays to your lives in the way that you want to. Apart from when you read the plays, you have free play with your imagination. The thing I'm keen for the actors to do also is really to play the play for you and with you, in fact with you, rather than for you or at you or to you. I do a lot of, it is a little bit like training, because I'm very keen that they're always speaking to try and affect the other person, to try and change the world, either by affecting what the other person is doing or wants them to do, or by releasing something that's pent up in themselves, which needs to be expressed. But they're never saying anything in order to illuminate you about, oh, that's a big theme, or that's what the play is about. It's a play. It's a play, and it should be played at some level like a sport is played. And I feel if we as actors play that way, play innocently and childlike, in a childlike fashion, then we actually will convince you, even those of you who've seen the play many times and have favorite performances of it, there's a kind of magic that takes place that you will come to feel that it's happening now for the first time.
How many takes did you have to do of completely losing control?
23.
Are you joking?
Does it look like I'm joking?
How do you do it 23 times?
Allow me to be a geek for another moment. You use your craft is what you do. I mean, listen, acting is not rocket science. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying, you know, that I have the most important job in the world, but it is an art form. There is a way of getting through a scene without and protecting yourself. There are techniques in breathing. There are techniques in terms of getting into the script, understanding who your character is at that moment. So listen, the same technique that afforded me the 114 performances on stage is the same technique I had to use in the film. There are just certain characters that are like that. You got to do the work.
It was wanting to immerse yourself in a different world, a different reality, and I think that when you have amazing set deck like we had on this, and amazing DP with the lighting, and our prop department, which everything was just very well thought out, and of course mixed with the hair, makeup, and wardrobe, you really can get into it. And I think that it was very helpful for all of the cast to sort of make sure everything was very grounded and respectful. And I think yeah, it plays a huge part in all of it, because the truth is that one of the things I didn't realize when I was 15 is that you go to a set and you're not really in the movie. It's there's a camera there, there's 100 other people there. It's very intense, and it's hard to, and very easy to get distracted. So it's sort of it's amazing when you have people who can create the world where you can latch on to that and sort of go, this is something real I can hang on to and put up the fourth wall, or ignore the camera or whatever you got to do. But that stuff is so helpful. My script is always so fucked up. It is like destroyed, and notes and coffee and all sorts of food, and it's disgusting. Yeah, I mark the hell out of it. I have to. I get these ideas, I got to write them down. I circle, I scrape. It's just a big old mess. I actually probably should organize it a little better, because maybe I'm losing some ideas within the chaos of it all. But I do that. I write. I kind of. It's not special. It's just really journaling, to sort of figure out what I'm going through that day, what I need to do in order to sort of match what's called for the day. So that's pretty helpful to sort of check in. And timelines. I think timelines are incredibly important. There was so much, that at any given time period, I'd sort of have to go, okay, what has happened? What do I know? What am I aware of? Sort of what is everybody around me aware of? Again, you're doing triple up days, and you're like, what the hell time period am I in? What just happened? But I think when you have those kinds of tools, you can do it. That feeling after you do a scene and you're driving home and you're going, God damn it, why didn't I do that? It was such a good idea. Oh. And maybe it wasn't a good idea, but in the moment you're freaking out and you're like, God damn it, the whole thing is ruined. It's ruined. It's that. It's kind of that I'm always sort of combating. I'm like, if I can stay focused and stay in it and keep thinking about it, maybe I'll keep coming up with things that I can try and do. And then at the end of the day, when I'm driving home, I'll go, all right, I might have missed something, but I sure as hell tried my best is to do everything that I thought I could do. And that to me is why I try to stay in it, I think.
As an artist, you're walking a tightrope. I think that if you're honest and you know what you want to do, you just have to do it. And if people don't like it, I mean, what can you say? I was talking about how quick, people could come and go.
Yeah.
I said I intend to be making films for a lot, further down the line. I don't want to be on a guest host on the Love Boat or Hollywood Squares next year. So I find it amusing that I'm having meetings with these studio heads all the time. And it's amazing. I mean, a year ago we were killing each other to get this film made. Now they're throwing all kinds of money at me to sign 3-picture deals with these studios.
Shouldn't surprise you though, does it?
No, it doesn't surprise, but it's amusing.
Do you ever amuse yourself by not showing up, for example? Or?
No, I don't think I can afford to do that. I mean, I just have one film. You can't get too cocky or anything, because the next one bombs, I'll be out on the streets selling tube socks like you saw.
What do you attribute this longevity to?
Well, I know that's what I set out to do from the very beginning. I don't know why I thought of it at 22 when I was starting in Los Angeles, but I just thought, do whatever it takes to stay in the game. So I'd say that worked out really well for me. I'll also attribute my work ethic to my dad. So that was hereditary, or at least by example. So.
Meaning what? What's your work ethic?
I work my tail off. I love it. Who wouldn't want to when you have a job like I have? And there's so much variety, and I've had so many people extend themselves for me and give me opportunities that I never dreamed of. So it is to all those people that I owe this, and as I will claim for myself how hard I've worked. So that's starting to show.
It really is this. When people ask me, say, how do you make it in show business or whatever? And what I always tell them, I've said it many years, and nobody ever takes note of it because it's not the answer they wanted to hear. What they want to hear is, here's how you get an agent, here's how you write a script, here's how you do this, But I always say, be so good they can't ignore you. And I just think that if somebody's thinking, how can I be really good? People are going to come to you. It's much easier than doing it that way than going to cocktail parties.
And I think every person who is an entertainer, a writer, a dance, anything, has anything to do with the arts, looks for the perfect person to give them something to do, the perfect person to interpret what they have done. And somehow or other this thing happened, and everybody came together to form what I consider a really good team, and something that I will be faithful to forever. I finally figured out why I wanted to be in show business. And not in show business, but to sing songs or to say words. And it was the only way I could figure out of saying, look, I'm just like you are. I'm not a Hollywood kid. I'm not special. I don't want to be special. I just want to be like you are. So it was my only way of being accepted by people that I admired. And it all has to do with singing about things that are taboo. Not politically, but personally. I've always been intrigued by the things, by people's secret thoughts.
I'm very thin-skinned, and if people just go at me, I'll shrink, I'll go away. Yeah. I don't want to, I'm not a fighter too. I've been very lucky because I'm not a pusher. The things that have happened to me have been very fortunate, and I was at the right place at the right time. Yeah. You know, I came here and I went and I did auditions and I checked hats at a ladies' tea room. How many ladies check their hats, you know? That's how bright I was. And I made all the rounds and did the auditions and got turned down and things like that. But I don't think any kid coming to New York or going to Hollywood ever thinks they're going to fail, or they wouldn't strike out to do this, you know. But I did set a time limit for myself. It was 5 years, and if I I wasn't earning a living, and I expected, to me to be earning a living would have been I would have been very happy to be in the chorus of a Broadway show. Right. I was almost in one, and they didn't accept me because I can't read music. And then I got a job as a lead in something else, which was terrific. If I'd read music, maybe that's where it would have ended for me. I'm not saying don't learn to read music, but it was a weird thing.
You know, you're lucky to get an audition. Then you get it. You get there. You walk into a room full of guys that look just like you. You realize you're not the only one that wore the cowboy hat. Then you can hear the other guy in the other room auditioning. And now you're thinking about not doing it like him, as opposed to doing it the way that you wanted to do it. Then before you go in, you hear the casting director negotiating the deal for the guy that already got the part. Yeah. Turns out Jared Leto already got it. Yeah. You know. Then you go in, you think you're doing you just think, I'll do it as an acting exercise. I know I'm not going to get it. I'll just take it as an experience, you know. And then you get to the scene where you're supposed to cry over your friend, and you get the tears going, and you're emotional, and then she gets a call and asks you to leave the room. You're trying to keep the tears up, but it's 10 minutes because you're waiting out there and you're trying to keep in the zone, and you lose it, and you come back and you want to pick it up. You want to start again, but she makes you pick it up where you left off. You go to your car, you got a parking ticket because the street cleaning sign has been covered by the auditions this way sign. Then you get in your car, you change, you muster up, the guts to go back to until you go to another one, and you wait in traffic for 2 hours and you go through it again.
I think people think that success is linear, and that really stops a lot of us from continuing on, especially when we hit a brick wall. After I got all that success very early on, I started to invest in my own things, like I was telling you guys, trying to do things that allow me creative control. But when you do that, it's expensive to be a creative, and so you don't know how long it's going to take for you to get your investment back. It eventually does happen, right? But it takes time. Not all the time. It's true though. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't, and you learn from it and you move on. Right. And so I went through a lot of those situations, but I always said to myself, okay, this is true to me. I learned how to, let me do it differently. Let me maybe do it this way instead of doing it that way. Trial and error, and ultimately it got me to this point. But it takes time. So I want to share that.
You work so hard, but it's important you talked about that.
But that's important for you to tell people, because it does take time, and you can't give up.
No.
Yeah. Some folks get to the thing and they go, this is just too much.
Yeah.
But it isn't. It's your life. So you've got to take control. That's what she's talking about. That's what she's gotten. And she's gotten control of what she does. And that is everything. Because when you have control, you make the decision.